Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, whoever might be watching, welcome back to my podcast, Hands Down, where the hands might be off, but the microphone is certainly on. Boy, oh boy, do I have a treat for you guys today. Today, we're going to be discussing a little bit what's happened in the NFL. I understand, the season's over. I get it. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. What we are going to be doing until free agency and the draft happens is just take a look back at the coaching positions that were filled. We saw the Patriots, the Raiders, the Jets, the Bears, the Jaguars, the Saints, and the Dallas Cowgirls get new head coaches. How are those new coaches? Who are those new coaches? And how are they going to fit into their role? And then we are going to transition into basketball. We have the All-Star Week happening right now. On Saturday night, we saw all the skills challenge, the three-point competition, and the dunk competition, where unlike the Super Bowl, we did see a three-peat. And then we saw the new 4-team format on Sunday night with Team Shaq versus Team Kenny versus Team Chuck versus Team Candace. Is the All-Star game washed? Should I be concerned as an NBA fan? The quick answer to that is yes. And then I discussed this last week in my episode. Baseball is just around the corner, guys, and I could not be more excited to talk about baseball with you guys. I would like to take a kind of a look back at this wild free agency frenzy that we had before we get into spring training, including Juan Soto getting $705 million. Yep. Let that sink in for a second. $765 million. Who did he get it from? We will all be discussing that later today in today's episode. So, that being said, let's talk about our first topic. Just because the NFL season is over doesn't mean we still can't talk football, guys. We still have the draft coming up. We see a good but bad draft at the same time, quite frankly. Obviously, we have the big names of Travis Hunter. Is he going to play corner? Is he going to play wide receiver? Personally, I think he should play corner. If he could play both positions, kudos to him. Can you do it at the next level? I don't think so. Obviously, we have a rather weak quarterback class, but we have some good prospects in Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sun, then Cam Ward. It will be interesting, especially with the way the draft goes. I believe Tennessee has the number 1 pick, and they got Will Levis. Are they going to give him another run? Do they draft a quarterback? The Giants have the 3rd pick. Second or third. Raiders are up there too. It's going to be, and Cleveland's up there too. It's going to be really interesting to see how this NFL draft goes. Obviously, we will be covering that as well. Free agency will be interesting as well. How are the Chiefs going to be able to move on, build from their dynasty? Is their dynasty going to fall apart? What is Philadelphia going to do? Are they going to make another big move? We saw Myles Garrett wanted to trade out of Leland. Could he find his way to Philadelphia? I don't know. New England has a new coach and they have $125 million cap space. What can they do? My favorite team, the New Orleans Saints, are only 65 mil over the cap space, and our average age on our roster is like 31. So Helen Moore's got a lot to figure out there. But like I said, NFL season might be over, but there's still a lot to discuss. The first thing I would like to discuss as we kind of end the NFL is the new NFL vacancies that were filled with new coaches. And most of the new coaches we have, I'm excited for. I'm excited to see what they can do. I do think we had 2 coaches that were kind of just rental coaches. Everybody missed out on the names they wanted. We saw Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, from right now go back to Buffalo. So we saw Cliff Kingsbury also go back to Washington. So those were some names that kind of decided not to take a coaching job this year. Maybe they're on the market next year and get more value. But the first signing we saw was Mike Vrabel going to the Patriots. Absolutely love this. He used to play there. He's going to bring a great culture to the team, especially a team that needs it in the Patriots. I like what they have there. And for a rebuild, Vrabel is going to be able to build a foundation, and I absolutely love that. But on top of that foundation, he's also, like I said, going to be able to build a competitive culture. I think he's going to do wonders with Drake May. That's the one thing the Patriots do got going in their way, is they definitely do have their guy. They have their quarterback. They don't have to draft a quarterback in this upcoming draft, so they can work on offensive, defensive threats, whatever direction you choose to go, you can work with that. I love the signing of Vrabel. I think he's going to do wonders there. I was surprised he didn't get picked up as a coach last year. He got released by Tennessee 2 years ago and spent last season helping Kevin Stefanski coach the Browns. That coaching staff was badonkers. So very surprised he didn't get picked up last year. Love the fit this year. Another kind of culture move that I liked we saw was Tom Brady as a minority owner and the Las Vegas Raiders. They kind of went hard for Ben Johnson and kind of gave him the keys to it, but Ben Johnson decided to take the keys to another franchise. But I like the move they made after missing out on Ben Johnson is they didn't go and settle essentially for someone lesser of a value or like just go get a no-namer. They actually went out and got Pete Carroll. And I absolutely love that move. He's going to establish a great culture. He kind of came up with a 5-year plan. Pete Carroll, I know he's going to be a little bit older. I don't know if he's going to last like the 5 years, 3 years there, but he has a 5-year plan essentially. But that's not his job to win now. His job is just to revamp the culture there, make that team in a winning organization value essentially, and then bring that culture up. And then whoever takes over from him, the sky's the limit. So those were two signings I really liked. Ben Johnson to the Bears, absolutely love that one. I think Caleb Williams has a lot of potential. As for what he can do in the NFL with it, it will be interesting. I do like that they went with an offensive-minded coach, specifically Ben Johnson, who's played with the Jared Goff before, who can really, he's an offensive mind. Like he's very, it's hard to say, but like he knows when you have an offensive-minded coach, the quarterback can propel you so far, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. And I feel like Ben Johnson's going to do that. Essentially what I was trying to say in the had is he's a wizard. He's a wizard on the offense. And I think that's someone Caleb Williams needs. Also, he knows how to use his timeouts and clock management, unlike Matt Eberflus. So kudos to Caleb Williams on that one. A couple of ones that I really liked, but I saw interesting, was Aaron Glenn. I'm a Saints fan. I was really hoping the Saints could get Aaron Glenn. He has past relationships with being on the staff and being a former player of the New Orleans Saints. And he was very interested in the job as well, but he was more interested in the Jets job, and that's the position he ended up taking. And it's a good move. I will say it's an interesting move in the aspect that the Jets are deciding to go with another defensive-minded coach. Personally, I'm in the book that defense wins championship games. Yes, you have high-powered offensives, but we saw the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl this year and only score more than 30 points once or twice, maybe 3 times. We have seen Peyton Manning's high offensive team get shut out by the Legion of Boom before. We have seen Cam Newton MVP go to the Super Bowl and get shut out by No Fly Zone before. So I'm a firm believer defense wins championship games. I will say this Jets, everything with the Jets is going to be very interesting. From management down, we had people not wanting to trade for Jerry Jeudy because of his Madden rating last year, and then Jerry Jeudy went off to have a bigger year. Mike Williams went off to end up getting cut. There's a lot you got to fix there, but if there's anybody who can do it, Aaron Glenn has a really good chance at doing it. And then Jacksonville got their guy in Liam Cohen, and I really like this one. He kind of did Tampa Bay dirty, but your ultimate job at the end of the day is to become the best person you can be and get the best job you can be. And yes, Tampa Bay was going to make him the highest paid offensive coordinator, but if they did the correct things in Jacksonville was obviously going to pay him more money and give him the keys to the franchise. Jacksonville, the community. Duval. Okay, I'm kidding. I'll stop. But I mean, I like it. He's a very interesting guy, but I think it's just the guy that Trevor Lawrence needs in that locker room to help him. And I'm excited to see what the Jags can do. The Jags have a lot of potential. They have the black Josh Allen. He does have Hines Allen now, so I guess I don't need to specify that anymore. But they got the black Josh Allen on their team. They have a very competitive roster. They had the first pick a couple years ago and took Trayvon Walker. They have a competitive roster where I think, especially in the South, where you have the Colts, where you have the Texans, where you have the Titans, that can be an easily winnable division. You just have to play the right football. And I really think Liam Cohen can do that. He's an offensive-minded person, which I think is someone that Trevor Lawrence needed. No shade to Doug Peterson, but Doug Peterson was not the coach that Trevor Lawrence needed. As for the Saints, I mentioned this earlier, we got Kellen Moore. It was kind of we swung and we missed on Aaron Glenn, obviously, because he took the Jets job. And then we swung and we missed on Joe Brady because he took his name out of the running. And then we also swung and missed on Cliff Kingsbury because he, too, said he was going back to Washington. So I kind of moreover view this as a rental. I don't see us having a bright future with Kellen Moore. Maybe he can prove me wrong, and I hope he proves me wrong. But he's going to be one of the youngest coaches in the NFL. He's an offensive-minded coach. I kind of like that, but I think the Saints need a defensive-minded coach. Our roster is average age of like 31 years old. We have Derek Carr, who might or might not take a $55 million cap hit. We have $5 million over the cap space right now. It's just and I understand why nobody wanted to come into this position. It's a very hard coaching position to come into. And I hope Kellen Moore can maybe do something, but I think the Saints just need to have a rental year. Go out and be bad. I don't think we're going to be competitive enough to go up against an NFC that includes Atlanta in our division, that includes Tampa Bay in our division, that includes a healthy San Francisco next year, a healthy Detroit next year, a healthy Minnesota. I don't think we're going to be competitive enough. So maybe go get another better draft pick and look for a better coach in next year. Is kind of what I'm hoping. And I hate to say that as a fan, I don't want to lose, but I think that's the best direction we can take as a franchise. In Dallas, the Cowgirls, they shocked the world kind of with letting Mike McCarthy go. We kind of all saw it happening. Mike McCarthy is a great regular season success, but he hasn't really had much playoff success. So I wasn't shocked by this move, but I was shocked by like Dallas wasn't letting him interview with anybody else. And then they also decided till Ben Johnson, till Mike Vrabel, till Pete Carroll, till Aaron Glenn, till Liam Cohen was off the market to make that decision. So you wasn't going to go get a big name head coach out there. Obviously, you made the talks of there was Deion Sanders. Maybe we get primetime back in Dallas, and then Dallas trades Dak for Shador. Like there was some crazy rumors like that. But then they decided to go and get, I read it when I first saw that. I thought I read the movie title Oppenheimer. But no, they went and hired Brian Schottenheimer. If you didn't know who that was, either did I, and I'm a really big sports fan. Apparently, he was their OC for the past couple of years. Brian Schottenheimer is the new head coach for the Dallas Cowgirls. That's all I need to say. Jerry Jones can be a GM. I need some GMs to be. I need some franchises to call me up. But it was interesting. I do like all of the moves except for the Schottenheimer move, and Dallas. I hope Dallas proves me wrong. Maybe they can go out and be great and do something this year, or they're going to be like the Saints and do something where they're like, hey, let's go out, let's have a bad year. We can blame it on Schottenheimer as a first-year coach, not really knowing what to do, can him, and get somebody else. And I hate to say that in a way, but the NFL is a business. I think that's what's going to happen in that. So the NFL coaching trials are rather interesting. I will say I was surprised to see Joe Brady and Cliff Kingsbury go back. I do believe those will be NFL head coaches again one day. I'm excited to see kind of what they can do maybe in the future in next year's coaching, where they might end up. But I am excited, like I said, for Vrabes, for Carroll, for Johnson, for Glenn. Really excited to see what they can do. Liam Cohen has a lot to prove, but the Jaguars, it's a nothing to lose situation kind of. And then I hope the Saints can find the right thing to do with what they got in the coaching. But it's gonna be interesting. I give Kellen Moore hope, but I'll be honest, as a Saints fan, don't know what to expect here. As for that, though, that's practically all that we saw in coaching moves right now. Like I said, we do have the draft upcoming, and we do have free agency. I will let you guys know about any other moves there. But other than that, we will be mainly switching our content to basketball and football. Specifically, basketball All-Star Week. We're going to discuss that here in a second. And then baseball spring training is about to go. And baseball's like a chess game, and I love chess. So excited for that. Nonetheless, let's switch to our next topic. And our next topic is NBA All-Star Weekend. And I don't know what to say. All-Star Weekend is washed. It is so washed. If we're trying to get ratings up, if we're trying to make the NBA watchable, and if we're trying to give the fans, the people who watch the game at the end of the day, what they want, we are going in the wrong direction. If we're supposed to be going this way, we are going this way. We're going backwards. We're going sideways. We're going upside down, all at the same time. Adam Silver, what the fuck are you doing, my guy? New format, absolutely trash. Are we going to go away from it? Probably not, because it was a year one thing, and he still is going to incorporate it and try to make it better next year. Is it going to make it better? I mean, probably. You can, whatever you do next year to top this year, you just have to actually try. So you probably can. But if you're actually going to, who knows? Well, I'll get into the format a little bit later, though. Let's talk about Saturday night. Saturday night, we saw the skills competition, the 3-point competition, and the dunk competition. I'll be honest, as an NBA fan, I was not mad of the skills competition, the dunk competition, 3-point competition. You can't really ruin it. There's a lot. It's such a sentimental value to the NBA that, like, as long as you have players who are good, who want to participate, Mac McClung for the dunk competition anyway. He's revived the dunk competition. If you put shooters in a 3-point competition, it's going to be fun. Skills challenge is just trash at this point. I'll be honest. I think we need to revamp the skills challenge. I said this on my TikTok. The skills challenge was fun to me back in the day when we had Darren Williams, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd, and Dwayne Wade going at it and actually trying their damnedest, trying their hardest, and trying to dethrone D-Wade, the two-time skills challenge winner. That was the prime skills challenge. Everybody knew their role, and it was competitive in a way, and we had the best guards, the best position, trying their best. That was pure the best, in my opinion. And then year by year, we went slower and slower away from it, lesser and lesser competitive, and now it's just something that exists. I think it needs to be replaced, or it needs to be entirely revamped, because right now what it is booty cheeks. I will say that the creativity of the players, Chris Paul specifically in this, I give him kudos. Apparently, according to him, he got with 3 to 4 different people and he cleared with what he did. And if you guys don't know what he did, him and Wemby was teammates, and they just went, it's for the quickest time, right? So they said, okay, we're going to go for the quickest time, made their bounce passes into the tires, and said, fuck their shots. They literally just got it, and you didn't even try to make the shot. They just threw all 3 balls super quick, not even attempting to do it. Creativity, amazing. I love it. Gave the skills challenge competition something different. They got a lot of boos. I understand, especially as a viewer. I was like, okay, what the fuck are we doing here? Kind of very interesting. But if you got it clear, I mean, you can't, don't hate the game, hate the player, or don't hate the player, hate the game type shit. I will say, I do disagree with the fact they got disqualified. I feel like they could have maybe had a chance to redo it and actually try to make the shots. Or if you're going to fully embrace it and then let the other teams cheat too, I guess. Let the other teams not try to make their shots and just strictly make it who can do it the quickest. That makes it semi more competitive. But other than that, skills challenge is washed. There's no ifs, whats, or buts about it. I hope the NBA can figure out something to do it, but it's the NBA we're talking about. At the end of the day, they're not going to. As for the 3-point competition, I don't have too many complaints about it. I just wish Steph Curry was in it. The 3-point, like, I get it, it's premier shooters, but like the best the 3-point competition is I guess Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Dame Dollar. When you put the premier 3-point and just like they actually compete, maybe incentivize it. I don't know. I can't be too mad about the 3-point competition because there's not too much that goes wrong with it, because it's kind of based off of luck. But like Dame was going for a 3-peat. I wish he could have maybe been a little bit more competitive, also known as maybe not yawning, and then getting eliminated in the first round. He was essentially the Kansas City Chiefs out there going for a 3-peat, and then when the lights were shining the brightest, decided not to show up. The dunk competition, as long as Mac McClung, who by the way, unlike the Kansas City Chiefs, did get his 3-peat, but as long as Mac McClung is in the dunk competition, it is going to be entertaining. And as a basketball fan, that's all I can ask for right now, because that's the best we're going to get. We're not going to really get anything else. Mac McClung got, I'm pretty sure, and you can quote me on this, he got 50s on all his dunks. He jumped over a car, and like an actual car type shit, where he not jumped over the hood of a car like Blake Griffin did. No, he jumped over everything of the car sideways. Well, like not like the front to back, but side to side of a car. But I will say, if it was Stephon Castle had some good dunks. It was fun watching him. If he would have won the dunk competition if Mac McClung didn't exist, and it's just unfortunate that he was put in a dunk competition with Mac McClung. And I will say, Mac McClung is trying his best to revive the dunk competition, and he had a good performance. And what's crazy is I think he has more in his bag. I think Mac McClung could do a lot better and has a lot more dunks up his sleeve than we know, but he's going to continue to do this for years to know, so who knows. I was reading the stat Mac McClung has made $310,000 in dunk contest career earnings and has made $265,000 in his career earnings in the G League. I know, crazy cherry pick stat, but he's made more money in the dunk competition than he has 3 years in the league. Just crazy. I will say, though, he brought a lot of hype. We saw John Morant post on X, formerly known as Twitter, that he might have to come out and participate in the dunk competition next year. I'm not going to say anything right now because I also heard LeBron James say that back in 2009, 2010, and he never has, and it's 2025, still hasn't happened, so I'm not going to say it is, but John Morant in a dunk competition would be legendary. We also saw Giannis co-tweet on that saying, hey, Ja, if you're in it, I'm going to be in it too. But then Giannis also came out and said he was hacked, but wasn't hacked. Giannis is trying to be funny, and he's like really cringe at being funny, so it's really interesting to watch him try to be funny. Just go out and play some ball, bro. But I'm just like, imagine Giannis, the Greek Freak, Ja Morant in a dunk competition. And then I think one of the two, pretty sure it was Ja, added Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. And that just brings back nostalgia to me because the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine dunk competition, I want to say, what was it, 2016? Maybe I'm old, maybe I'm young, who knows? It was something like that. I want to say it was about 7, 8 years ago, but that was the greatest dunk competition of all time that I've seen. There might have been greaters that have happened 80s, 90s that before I saw with my own eyes, but with my own eyes, the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, which, by the way, Aaron Gordon, 1,069% got snubbed at that. He should have 100% won. But Aaron Gordon got snubbed at that. But imagine seeing Giannis, Aaron Gordon, Ja Morant, and Zach LaVine in a dunk competition. That would feed families. Now that's what can get your ratings up, NBA. And I get it, it's a player's thing. But that is what can get your ratings up. That is what can get your excitement up. And talk about entertainment. Damn it, you got arguably the four best dunkers in the league. Giannis, maybe not, but Giannis is athletic and can do crazy things. Like, we're talking some crazy shit. As for the other two contestants, I give them an A for showing up, I guess. The creativity behind Matas Buzelis, I really liked. He had some really cool dunks. Ideas, just the execution was very poor. And then the effort as well. I feel like he could have, he got, what was that, 40, 42 on a dunk and try that he tried like 6 times and it got a 42. I remember the days in a dunk competition where if you didn't make it, guess what? You got a 0. That's, like, I get it. I try the effort there, but if you don't make a dunk, why are you getting a score? I get the effort there, but if the ball doesn't go through the rim, you do not make your dunk. So, like, I liked his creativity. I feel like, it didn't matter. He didn't advance anyway. But I feel like they should have done a little bit something more because, like, previous dunk competitions I've watched, like, if you can't make your first 3 dunks, okay, you got to try something different just so you at least get a dunk in. I remember watching dunks where a 44 was a bad score for a decent dunk. And nowadays a 44 is like an average score is damn near 45, 46, 47. It's hard to, like, it's just so everything is almost a 50 these days. I wish we had better judges. It was cool seeing KG up there judge. I won't lie, but that's kind of my opinions on the dunk competition. I think it can get better and brighter in the future, especially if we actually have people who participate in the league, because it's always Mac McClung. He's obviously won it the past 3 years, and then it's a rookie. It's always been a rookie. Like, the biggest name we've had in the dunk competition was Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown was booty cheeks. He dumped over Kai Cenat, who was sitting down, and I'm pretty sure I'm taller than Kai Cenat. Like, it was crazy. I want to see notable people in the dunk competition actually try. Before we get into the All-Star game Sunday night itself, this message is for LeBron James and LeBron James only. Brother, I understand you're a 21-time All-Star. I understand if your foot's hurting. My foot's hurting too. It's not even there, okay? Okay, maybe that was too far, but I get it. My foot hurts sometimes too, Brown. If you are not going to play in the All-Star game, and we all know that you made that decision before you made that decision. You posted and you made it publicly known 2.5 hours before tip-off. We all know you made that decision going into All-Star Week, going into Saturday night, probably even going into Friday night. If you are going to make that decision, you still have your nod as an All-Star. Support your team, support your coach, and give somebody else a chance. We saw a Domantas Sabonis get snubbed, who leads the league in rebounds. We saw a LaMelo Ball get snubbed, who was first in fan votes in the Eastern Conference side. We saw Norman Powell get snubbed, who has been damn near one of the best players on the Clippers, helping James Harden out with Kawhi being out. And Bron, I get it, I understand, but you knew going into that game you wasn't going to play. You still get your nod, tell everybody beforehand, get a replacement and give somebody else the opportunity to go into that game. Because then it's also a disadvantage for the game itself, because then Team Shaq, which I mean it didn't really matter, but Team Shaq only has 7 players going into this. I thought that was a very selfish, petty move by LeBron James to not make that decision publicly known earlier. I feel like he could have. He obviously knew, and he didn't. As a fan, obviously, I love LeBron. It's what he's done is amazing. I will say though, like it was unfortunate, and it's probably the last time we will ever see this. This is LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry on the court together, all in one. And that's one thing I was honestly excited for in this All-Star game, was this was probably the last dance we got to see. The last time we see Bron, Curry, and Durant on the court together. We might see Curry and Durant on the court together again later, but I don't know if we're going to see Bron on the court together. And as an NBA fan, it is something I enjoy. As entertaining and competitive as it might not be, it's still something to enjoy. Watching the Olympics was amazing, and I'm like, okay, you know, it's the All-Star game. I understand it's not going to be so competitive, but it's just going to be a joy to see 3 legendary players on the court. Then it doesn't happen. So I'm a little upset, and I think Bron did this out of him being selfish and petty in a way. I'm not necessarily petty, just more selfish. I think he knew. I think we all knew that he knew. I just wish he would have made that decision a little bit earlier to get someone else in there. And then as a fan, I'm very upset that I did not get to see him, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant on the court, potentially, because I don't know if we will ever see that again. Anyhow, the game itself, the format was absolutely trash. The way there was a stat on there, game 1, 10 minutes, 7 seconds. Game 2, 12 minutes, 54 seconds. Game 3, 10 minutes and 40 seconds. That is a total game time of 33 minutes and 41 seconds. It was a 3-hour film, whatever you want to say. We saw about 2 hours and 41 minutes of commercials, of Kevin Hart yapping, which I'm a big Kevin Hart fan. I love Kevin Hart. I'm not mad about that. That was pretty funny to me. I had more entertainment through Kevin Hart than I did the All-Star game as well. But we had 2 hours, about 2.5 hours of commercials, Mr. Beast, Draymond, Kevin Hart yapping, performances. We had 3 different performances mid-game, but it was so weird. We saw and I get it, the shout out to Inside the NBA TNT crew, that was cool, but a lot of it was unnecessary too. And then in real time, we saw 35 minutes of game time. We didn't even get to see a full 48 minutes of game time, and it was a 3-hour program. I have 2 TVs in my room. I ended up starting to watch a series, Cobra Kai, actually more than the All-Star game, because I was more intrigued by the new series that came out, than the All-Star game itself. And I had it on the side TV, and I could care less about what was going on. It was not fun. I give Adam Silver and the NBA kudos for trying to make the All-Star game different this year, but with putting rising stars in there, what the fuck are we doing? You're gonna tell me Dalton Knecht, Keontae George, Stephon Castle has to go up against Kevin Durant, Steph Curry? There's no shot they're winning that. Yeah, maybe Colt's a great underdog story, but that just, to me, and that's unfair in any situation. Any team you put them up against, you put them up against the OGs, you put them up against the international, or you put them up against the up and coming NBA stars, they would not have won in any way, shape, or league, because guess what? They're not all-stars. Every other player on that court was an all-star. They got an all-star nod. The rising stars are not. So what I propose to the NBA, and what did I propose to you, Mr. Adam Silver, is have it be the All-Star snubs instead. If we're gonna keep this 4-team format where A plays B, C plays D, is then winner of those games play each other, have it be 4-team format, and then you do a draft again, similarly to the whole thing of the 3 teams, but the 4th team is made of your snubs. So, for instance, a Domantas Sabonis, a LaMelo Ball, a Norman Powell. That way, they get their nod of maybe they're not being an all-star, but damn it, at least they can play on the court. That's what I would say. I think if you do that, it can be more competitive. I think if you do Team USA versus Team World, that can also be more competitive. The Team USA is going to have a significant more amount of players than Team World. So I don't think that would work in that sense. But something has to change. Considering this was the first year we incorporated it, I don't think anything is going to change. I would like it to be, I kind of like the target scores of like a 158 or something like that, because you still get your 4 quarters, 3 quarters of a game. And back when it happened in, what was it, 8 years ago when we had it for something like that, we saw, I could care less if you guys play defense through the first 3.5 quarters. All I'm asking is it's a competitive game going into the 4th quarter, and the 5 final minutes is competitive and there's actually some defense played. We're actually seeing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander clap his hands as he's guarding Anthony Edwards. I just want some sort of entertainment that way. That's what I want as an NBA fan. I think we should go back to, if we keep this format, do a higher target score than 40. That didn't make any sense in any way, shape, or form. And I don't know. The NBA has a lot to work on in that. But similarly to when I made my comments about the Pro Bowl a couple weeks ago, I find myself year in and year out not wanting to watch it because it gets less and less entertaining year by year. So if Ja Morant's in the dunk competition next year, am I going to watch it? Yes. If Ja Morant's not in the dunk competition next year, am I still going to watch it? Probably yes, but I really do wish Adam Silver and the NBA would make a change for the better, and not just something like they always say it's for the ratings, they always say it's for the views. Then listen to the fans, listen to what we want, and don't give us this trash bullshit that you continue to give us. That's my takes on NBA All-Star Week, so hopefully it can get better. As for our last topic today, guys, like I said earlier, baseball is about to start up. We have pitchers and catchers already in camp right now, and then spring training starts here soon. And I just want to kind of take a look back at what a wild offseason it was before we get into this regular season. And I'm very excited for what this season has. Hopefully, I'm a Braves fan, for anybody who's wondering. I'm hoping Ronald Acuna Jr. can come back healthy. As of February 15th, 16th, he was about 90 to 95% healthy. He's eyeing I want to say I read May return. So I look forward to having a healthy Ronald Acuna Jr. Obviously, we get Spencer Strider back, and the Braves, when healthy, have a very competitive roster. I'm very excited to see what they can do, and when we dethrone the almighty Dodgers. As for this year, though, we saw, obviously, last year after the championship, the big question was what was going to happen with Juan Soto. We saw the Dodgers overcome the Yankees. Yankees looked good with Juan Soto. Were the Yankees going to pay Juan Soto? Juan Soto wanted his money. And, Juan Soto got his money. This happened eons ago. It feels like eons ago, but he got 765 M's. And apparently, New York Yankees also offered him, I want to say it was 760. They offered him a 16-year, $760 million deal, and he said no. And he took the Mets 15-year, $765 million deal. So maybe he didn't like playing with the Yankees. I don't really know what happened there, but holy cow, Juan Soto got $765 million. He got more than the two-way Japanese star Shohei Ohtani got. I was badonkered, bamboozled. Shohei Ohtani got 700 mil. And then I was hearing some rumors about Alex Bregman, Juan Soto potentially getting 700 mil. And I was like, 100% deserves 400 million, which is crazy to say for one singular player. 100% deserves 500 million. I would go as to say he deserves 600 million, which is a crazy statement to say still. But I'm just like, but there's no way he gets 700 million. Then Steve Cohen said, hold my beer. I got 765 M's of those things to hand out. And he did. And the Mets also retained Pete Alonso. So they're going to stay competitive in a very competitive National League East that consists of the Braves, that consists of the Mets. And then we also have the Phillies, who look out for the Phillies, especially Bryce Harper, because right now he's in his TikTok era. And when baseball season starts, I feel like Bryce is going to go on an absolute tear. So that's going to be a fun division to watch. But Juan Soto to the Mets for $765 million. That's crazy. We did see the Yankees, though, rebound immediately after not being able to get Juan Soto and pay him that $760 million deal they offered him. They went out and they got a Cody Bellinger via trade. They went out and got a Devin Williams via trade. They went out and gave Max Fried $200 million. They went out and they traded for Paul Goldschmidt Those were kind of the notable signings they did. They might have had a couple other here and there. And quite frankly, I like this move better for the Yankees. You went out and you spent less money and you got more. I have a tattoo here. Don't know how well you guys can see it, but it's in Arabic. It says less is more. It's a saying I always go by because obviously not having limbs is something, but it's something in this. Yes, Juan Soto's a premier player, and I understand that. And yes, he's maybe worth $600 million. But is that one player worth that so much for where you want to affect the direction of your franchise? I don't think he was, and the Yankees rebounded very well to where they missed out on that. They tried. I give them an A+. They shot the shot, but then they said, okay, we still need to be competitive. Let's go get Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Devin Williams, Max Fried for less money. I find that as a win. I guess time will tell with how both teams do, but if you're a Yankees fan and if you're an MLB fan, you can't hate it because they still win. They were competitive. That American League East is also going to be a fun division because, like I said, we saw the Yankees make those moves. We saw Boston, they're being competitive right now. We saw them with Jarren Duran and Rafael Devers Rafael Devers has always been good, but Jarren Duran having a good year, showing the player that he is. And then we saw them go out. They just recently signed Alex Bregman, who Alex Cora used to coach him, and I think he's going to rake. He actually took more and less money at the same time. Houston and Detroit offered him 6 and 7 year contracts with more money, long-term value, but Boston offered him a 3-year $120 with more short-term money involved, like $30 million annually compared to where it would have been $25 million annually with the others. And then, like I said, it's Fenway Park, the Green Monster. He's going to rake there, but Boston's also very competitive. They also went out and made a trade for Garrett Crochet. They went out and got Walker Buehler. Now they have Alex Bregman. I'm excited to see what Boston can do in that division, and that's a fun division too. We see Boston, who is competitive, and I think it's going to win the division next year. We see New York, who missed out on Soto, but is still very competitive, and they probably are going to win the division. The Red Sox are my favorite team on that side, so I'm hoping for the Red Sox. We saw Toronto go out and get Anthony Santander, and then we saw them go out and get Max Scherzer. They didn't pay Vladdy. I don't know what they're going to do with Vladdy, but they're still a damn good team, and they still have a competitive roster. They're going to give both those teams a run for their money. The Rays always find a way to be good, obviously. And then the Orioles won the division last year, so that division is going to be a hell of a fun division to watch. Then we saw big names like Corbin Burns leave Baltimore and then go, and he was dead set on, he wanted to go to Arizona. He told the D-backs, I'm going to bring you guys something you don't have. I love that for him. Great pitcher. Very excited to see what Arizona can do. They went out and got Josh Naylor too, which I found is an interesting move. I found it shocking Cleveland went away from him, moreover. I love that for Arizona. I'm very excited to see how they can compete with LA, with San Diego. Don't really know what San Diego is doing because they kind of made that big push, got a Luis Ariz, obviously had Soto early in the year, then traded Soto, and then they lost a person to the Dodgers. You lost Tanner Scott to the Dodgers, and now you're on the trade block for Luis Ariz again, so don't really know what they're doing over there, but that they gave the Dodgers a run for their money, and they got Fernando Tatis Jr. on your team, so you want to be competitive. It'll be interesting. That division is going to be fun too, but that division, like I said, it consists of the Dodgers, who there's no salary cap in their name. All they do is just defer all their money and still get everybody and their mom. I mean, they signed Shohei and Yoshi Yanawatanabe, however you say his face, last year, and then you sign their friend in Rokai Sasaki, and then you go out and you get Blake Snell, and then you go out and you get Tanner Scott, and then you bring back Teoscar and Kiki Hernandez, and then this is the one time I wish I like how competitive baseball is, and yes, go play where you're gonna win, but damn it, we gotta have a salary cap because we cannot let the Dodgers keep getting away with this. Absolutely crazy. But I mean, like I said earlier, don't hate the player, hate the game. So it is what it is. That division will be interesting, though. The Diamondbacks obviously made the run for the World Series a couple years ago. Are they going to be competitive enough to make the postseason? The Giants tried to make a couple moves. We saw them make one of the first signings of the league was getting Willy Adames, and I think they're going to move him over to third, which is going to be an interesting move. I like what Buster Posey's doing over there, though. We saw them get Justin Verlander. I really like that move. I know he's older, but it's kind of a 1 year, not really a prove it deal, but go out strong. I like to see what Justin Verlander can do. Very fun competitive division there too. I don't think any team is going to top the Dodgers in that division, but at least we have teams trying. Then my Braves haven't done much, but they finally went out and got an outfielder. They went out and got Jurickson Provar and kind of got it for the low, which I was very pleased by, because we saw Anthony Santander go to Toronto, and I think he got a 5-year, $75-80 million deal. And I was like, okay, because I was really eyeballing Santander, but I'm like, obviously if we didn't pay Fried, we don't really want to pay anybody else big time money. And they went out and got Profar for 3 years, 44 mil, 40 mil, something like that. Something light. I say something light as I say $40 million, but like in baseball terms, it's a really good contract for that type of player, for the production that I hope he brings. I really like it. The Braves, when healthy, have a really complete and competitive roster. I think they are going to win their division and can compete with LA and New York and Boston, all those teams up there. I only threw Boston there because I think they're winning the division. Don't come at me. But when healthy, I think the Braves do have one of the best teams in the league. It's just a matter of if you can stay healthy. But it's going to be a very, very interesting season for the Major League Baseball. I'm really excited. Yesterday, we saw some reports that Mike Trout is going to move to right field to help with injury concerns. We also saw that, shockingly, in other news, his teammate, Anthony Rendon, who I'm pretty sure he signed it was like an 8-year, $280 million deal, something like that. He's on his 6th year, and bro hasn't even played a full season. He gets injured every year and misses the entire season, and he happened to injure his hip and is out for a significant time. Again, am I surprised? No. I just feel bad for the Angels because they're paying him so much money to not play. But this baseball season is going to be electric. I am so excited to be able to cover content for you guys on baseball. But yeah, what a wild offseason. An offseason where we saw it beginning with the Dodgers hoist the trophy, and then the Mets giving out $765 million to Juan Soto. Yes, just one player. But baseball is back, and I could not be more excited for what baseball has to offer this year. And that's a wrap for today's episode. Guys, if you guys do have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything you guys would like me to discuss in a future episode, please leave those in the comments. I will be sure to check them all out and discuss what I can. Leave a like, drop a follow, and in next week's episode, we will be discussing how the players are looking. Luka Doncic as a LA Laker, Jimmy Butler as a Golden State Warrior, how they're looking with their new teams. Are their teams playing better? The NBA is getting closer to the postseason. How are the standings looking? We see Oklahoma City coming back as a fully healthy team, and we haven't really saw them play yet. So are they a team to look out for? I mean, obviously, yes, they are now, but we don't even know what their ceiling is yet. Expect that in next week's episode. And then, like I said, spring training for baseball is happening, so a lot more baseball content will be coming. But appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.